Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Q&A. I hope you're having a good week so far, and maybe you're thinking, thank goodness January is over right now. Like, I know a lot of people who really struggle just to find their feet in January. I do think that we have this huge emphasis on like the new year and put so much pressure on it that January can actually feel so overwhelming because we've just had a long break, Christmas, New Year, we've been totally out of routine. And then we're expected to not only dive straight back into routine again, but also have this plan about how, we're going to change our lives in the new year. And in reality, like, it's all about the little things, and they're the things that actually work, and they're the things that work for the long term. But anyway, regardless of all that, I really think that February is where it begins. We've had the crazy manic January. The weather's not been the best in the UK. Morale's been pretty low in general, apart from at the squad. Apart from at the squad, it's been great. And do always remember that, by the way. Do always remember that you are always one workout away from feeling in a totally different place. No matter whether it's January or not, you're always one workout away from feeling in a totally, totally different headspace. Never, ever forget that. Anyway, really just quite often feels like, okay, this is actually the start now. And maybe you started on your goals in January, they lasted a couple of weeks and they just weren't sustainable. So this is the perfect time to almost have a little bit of a reset. Or if January just did not go to plan whatsoever, nothing got started, okay, whatever, never mind. This is time now. We're turning over a new leaf. It's a new month. Anyway, just literally what I've been thinking about recently. And I've also been thinking about the wellness retreats. So we love to host wellness retreats. We've done retreats abroad. We've done retreats in the UK. And I'm hosting two brand new retreats this year in the UK. They're day retreats and they're both gorgeous locations, brand new locations we've never used before. They're both very different from each other as well. So keep your eye on both the Instagram and Facebook page for Lorna Marie Fitness, because I'll be releasing details on there and I'll be releasing them in the retreat Facebook group first. So if you're not in that group, it's a free Facebook group. I just release all the information there first for everyone, of course, who is interested in the retreats. They get first dibs. So if you're not in that group, message me, say, I'd like to be in the group, and then I could add you into the group. Okay. And also, if you're listening to this and you want to be part of the 2026 6-week challenge, come and join us. Maybe this is your time. Maybe January didn't go to plan. So what? Never mind. Draw a line. What's important is what you do next and what you decide to do next. And also, well done for everyone who's diving into the February challenge squaddies. Excellent job. Which level have you chosen? Remember, it's not based on fitness level, but what you can realistically commit to as well. Anyway, I'd be interested to hear. And keep all your selfies coming and the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group. We'd love to see them. And it's so motivational as well. Now, questions this week. We've got some really interesting questions. First one being all about stress and weight loss. Does it have an impact? Another one about osteoporosis. And then a couple of other ones that are more sort of related to, I was going to say body parts, but yeah, body parts, like how to improve strength in your ankles and etc. So let's start on big one that I'm sure we've all wondered. And I'm sure we all deal with, whether that's on an ongoing basis, I hope not, but from time to time, stress. Please, could we have a question on stress and the impact it could have on weight loss and energy levels, etc.? I'm okay at the moment, but I'm due to go into a really busy time at work and also covering part of a role until a new person starts. And then it'll be training, so I'll be super busy. I'm really pleased I'm now in a routine of doing classes each week, as I know that will help. I love the classes and all the support from you and Will. And as someone who's not on Facebook, the WhatsApp group is great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your lovely words there. And that really does mean a lot to us. We put a lot of work in behind the scenes and we both feel very passionate about what we do and helping as many people as we possibly can. That's why we do this. That's why we pretty much dedicate our lives to running the squad. So thank you so much. There is a bit of a difference. I feel like WhatsApp is a bit more chatter throughout the day kind of thing. Accountability throughout the day. It's right there. It's at your fingertips. Quick questions. Whereas the Facebook group, you can dabble in and out that as you please. And team, always remember that if, you like one and not the other, you don't have to be in both of them. There's never any pressure. They're just, they're tools for you. But they're both brilliant. Yeah. And they've got a slight different vibe, different feel. And of course, on the Facebook group, we're always posting the events and things, but everything's in Friday email. So if you're not on it, don't worry. Anyway, that was a bit of a digression, wasn't it? Now, stress and the impact on weight loss. Now, you're right to think that it has an impact on weight loss, or it can have an impact on weight loss and energy levels. Absolutely. But it isn't stress itself. So it's not the actual stress. So we don't get stressed and all of a sudden we just magically put weight on. It doesn't quite work like that. It's how we respond to the stress. So, what I mean by this is when we're feeling stressed and we're in that fight flight mode, our body is diverting resources to help us get out of this threat. If you think of way, way, way back in, like caveman times, we'll be running away from a bear or something like that. Like our body goes into fight flight mode, cortisol levels shoot up, that's your stress hormone, adrenaline increases as well, which is great for when you're in that moment. You can perform so well and you are on it. You're very alert. When adrenaline is crushed back down, our energy levels can feel pretty depleted, which means we are going to be looking for foods that are going to give us fast energy. And those foods tend to be highly processed and more palatable foods and things that we can grab easily. Maybe something that's in a packet, maybe some biscuits or some chocolate or some sweets or just something that's there. Maybe not as nourishing as they could be because we're looking for that quick replenishment of energy. Our body's saying, I need energy now. Like the threat might come back and you've got nothing left, girl. Come on, get some more. In simple terms, that's kind of what's going on. But some people say that actually they struggle with their appetite when they're stressed. Some people say that actually it's an emotional response. They feel in a fight flight mode and they'll just grab anything and it's pretty mindless and don't really taste it. And it can be difficult to make good, rational decisions when we're feeling like that. Also, when we're stressed, our sleep tends to be worse. And again, that can increase cravings for foods that are going to give us some quick energy. And we're not always in, a state of mind to be really contemplating, which is more nourishing for our body right now when we're depleted, when we're stressed, when we're feeling like we have no energy. So we have to make sure that we're setting ourselves up in the best way. So it's not the fact that we're stressed and we automatically put weight on. It's how the stress affects our behaviors, which is quite it's very powerful to remember. It's very empowering because you're in charge. You're in charge of the decisions that you make. So when you're feeling stressed, we're feeling in that moment that stress, that acute stress, or maybe it's just ongoing stress. There's always that constant level, that chronic stress. And then maybe you add a bit of acute stress onto it here and there every time you have a stressful moment, or maybe work's really stressful or family life's really stressful, but you've constantly got that high level of stress just churning away in the background. So you just feel like you're just constantly running on adrenaline. We always have the power to choose. Yes, okay, it might be a little bit more difficult because we're tired, because we're feeling stressed, because our energy levels are low. It might be a bit harder, it might be a bit trickier. But the power of the pause is so important. Just literally taking a moment out, taking yourself out of a situation for a few seconds, or making sure that you plan ahead for these moments. So, for example, having healthier based snacks in the house, having the fruit out on the table and not the crisps out on the table, for example, having them way in the back of the cupboard, or just don't buy any in for a bit. Having things readily available, ready made, that's going to be quick for you. Maybe prepping your meals in advance or choosing meals that can take 2 seconds to make. For example, bag of washed pre-chopped salad straight in. This is one of my go-tos if I'm having a really stressful day and I just don't have time. Pre-chopped salad, it's not ideal, but it's fine. Tin of tuna, boom. Sun-dried tomatoes, boom. A little bit of dressing, boom. Whip it up. I'll usually have some sourdough bread with that as well. That took me under a minute to make. And it stops me from, I won't, in those moments when I just don't have time and I'm feeling really stressed, I'm not going to start cooking. I'm the world's laziest cook anyway, but I'm not going to start cooking then. But it stops me from spending the day trying to run on cereal bars, for example. Just quick things, or just having that ready. So making a couple so that I know tomorrow I'm probably going to be in a similar sort of place with my stress, with my time. I've already got one made because I doubled it up. Or at night when I'm making dinner, I've got a little bit more time maybe, or I've made something really fast. I just make more and then it's there for lunch the next day. It's already sorted. Make your breakfast for the next day. Have loads of fruit in, have loads of healthier, less processed-based snacks in. Of course, I'm not saying that you can't have processing. Of course you can. It's very difficult in this day and age to avoid anything processed. But what I'm trying to say is give your body what it needs first and foremost. Give your body fuel and give it what it needs to thrive, to improve your energy levels. And also really focusing on the foundations, getting enough water in, getting enough sleep in where you can. Obviously, sleep can sometimes be a difficult one, especially if you are feeling stressed. So how can you set yourself up in the best way to get a good night's sleep? Is the room dark? Is it cool? Can you start winding down 90 minutes before you go to bed? Have you got a bit of a set routine that you normally like to do before you go to bed? If you cut down on any sort of scrolling on Instagram, don't check your work emails 90 minutes before you go to bed. Write down a brain dump of everything that's on your mind, put it on paper. That can be a fantastic way to clear the mind and reduce stress. Do some journaling. That can be incredible for reducing stress. So all of these things that you can do to bring your stress levels down, give yourself a good night's sleep. We know that when we have a good night's sleep, the next day we're going to perform better. We're going to make better choices with our food. We're going to have more energy. We're going to think more rationally. So that's another thing. And if that's out of your control, sleep, okay, well, what are the other things that we can focus on? Let's get the water in. Movement is absolutely ginormous. The amount of times that people say, I'm too stressed, I don't have time for exercise. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you need to exercise. Like, if you feel that way, that is the best thing you can do. And if you don't have much time, fine, that's okay. Just do a short something. You'll find that you have so much capacity for everything else once you've done a bit of exercise, a bit of movement. Get yourself on the bolt-on area, or do your exercise first thing in the morning before anyone or anything else needs you. Set yourself up in the best way for the day. It's the most energizing way to start the day anyway. You're going to be thinking sharply. You're going to be thinking clearer. Okay, it might mean that we have to forego 15 minutes of sleep. Whatever. It's really, really going to help boost your energy more than I personally think anyway, just those 15 minutes. Just get up, do some exercise, do some movement, start your day in the best way. Or 20 minutes, come to one of the lives if that's going to keep you accountable. Get up, do the 6 a.m., the 6:30 every day. Get it into your routine. It's something that just helps so much with stress. And if you're feeling super stressed after a day at work, maybe you don't want to do the earlies, you're feeling super stressed, why not use the workouts as that transition from work into home life? And that is your way of telling your brain and your body, I am now at home. Even if you work from home, it's such a powerful thing to do. And it can really help release the stresses of the day as well. Whether you attack it out in a combat like today, combat rock, that's a really good one. Or if actually you just need something to calm your nervous system and you get onto a yoga scape, or you do some of the meditation from the meditation area. Something like that is going to be so helpful. And again, when we get out of that fight flight mode, we are able to make better, more rational decisions, more nourishing decisions with our food. And therefore, we are in control of whether stress impacts our weight loss or not. It's all about controlling the controllables and remembering that you are in control. So you're the only person who can move your body, and you are also the only person who can put food into your mouth. So it's just about trying our best to make good decisions where we can. Like cortisol, so the stress hormone, it basically affects weight loss in the way that we react to our stress, the way that we perceive our stress. And sometimes it is just how we perceive our stress. Like a bit of stress when we're in a new role and it's really busy can be a good thing because it makes us really alert. So can we perceive that in a new way? That's great. I'm going to be so alert. Stress levels are a little bit higher temporarily. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I exercise when I get home. I'm going to keep this bottle of water with me, and I'm going to make sure I've got some healthy snacks and meals prepped. And I'll make sure that everything is shut down like 90 minutes before I go to bed. And you're doing everything you can possibly do. Stress can make us hold temporary water retention, just temporary. So do bear that in mind, and it is only temporary. And there is potential evidence that, if we do gain weight, if cortisol levels are high, it tends to be more around our tummies, potentially. The research is a little bit conflicted with that. But it's mainly just all about how we perceive it. At the end of the day, weight loss is all about whether you're in a calorie deficit or not. As in, are you eating below your energy requirements to maintain your weight or not? And that is the only reason people lose weight, is if they're eating below the energy requirements to maintain their weight. So I hope that helps. Really, really good question. Really good question. Now, the next question is all about osteoporosis. So I've recently been diagnosed with osteoporosis, there's no family history, and take a weekly dose of alendronic acid. I'd love to hear tips and experiences on how to manage it day to day and what has helped others with osteoporosis stay active and strong. Okay, so if there are any squaddies in the group who are currently living with osteoporosis, please do post in the Facebook group after this, or in the WhatsApp group. Help each other with this. What do you do? What do you do to stay active and strong? And in all honesty, it really is going to be, patient to patient basis. Yeah. And it's so important to listen to the advice from medical professionals as well. So I can't give any specific advice on this kind of thing, but I can definitely talk generally what does help with osteoporosis and what doesn't. So firstly, I'm so sorry to hear that you've been diagnosed with osteoporosis. It's rubbish, and it can be really tough. And for some people, it can be super painful as well. So Osteoporosis is essentially where your bone is it's losing more calcium than it's replenishing. So you're in a net loss of calcium from the bone, which can make our bones more brittle. So there's a higher chance of break when we fall over, for example. Now, the things that we want to do to protect our bones in the best way are weight bearing exercise. And that can be something so simple as walking. It can be doing our classes like Stronger. It can be doing our classes like Sculpt. And depending on the level of your osteoporosis and what you've been advised by medical professionals, sometimes a bit of high impact can be a good thing as well. So what we're trying to do is stimulate the body to improve bone density. So we want some weight bearing to do that. So if we cause a stress on the area, the body is going to think, I need to replenish this. And then it's going to try and replenish it in the best way that it can. For some people, high impact is actually a stress on the bones. So depending on your level of osteoporosis, for some people, a bit of high impact. So a light jog on the spot or some aerobics, for example, that is high impact isn't necessarily a bad thing, and actually is a good thing. It's a stressor on the body that says, hey, let's go and repair this. So it just depends on you and depends on your level as to whether high impact is a good idea or not. And you will know, you know how your body feels, you know what you've been told, etc. as well. So we want weight bearing exercise, number one. Strength training is going to be a priority because we want to maintain as much lean muscle mass as possible because muscle protects our bones. And the best way to think about this is if you just imagine you've got a bone and you wrap some cotton wool around the bone, like a thin layer of cotton wool, versus you strap a really thick pillow around that piece of bone. Now imagine that person falling over. The person who's got a thin layer of cotton wool around them, imagine that as fat tissue. Like, I'm not saying that this person will look overweight. I'm just saying they don't have as much muscle. There's more chance of a break. Versus the person who has muscle mass and they've got that, imagine that thick pillow, that cushion around their bone. They fall over, just get back up again. There's much less chance of a break when you have more muscle. Muscle protects your bones. So we've got strength training there. We've got weight bearing exercise. And along with that, it's all right training on muscles. So again, creating a stimulus on the body goes, need to go repair that. So creating a stimulus on the body. And when we train our muscles, it creates little micro tears, and then our body goes and knits them back together, rest period. But to do that, it needs obviously the stimulus in the first place, strength training. It needs rest and recovery. So when you sleep, our bodies get stronger, and also taking a rest day. And that is important. Rest days need to come into our week as well, or just resting that area. Water and protein. So we need to be eating a high protein diet. Other things to supplement with here, make sure you're having a diet full of calcium, vitamin D, and maybe, of course, speak to a medical professional first, but maybe supplementing with that as well. So those are the things that can help and are generally advised if you are somebody who has osteoporosis. One other thing I would say is it's really important to try and prevent falls where possible. So balance exercise will be really important to do and important to do on a regular basis. And also making sure we're wearing appropriate footwear, just to try and reduce the risk of falling. But I'd be really interested to see what others in the group do to stay active and strong with osteoporosis as well. And thank you so much for asking the question. And also just a bit of reassurance that you're definitely in a good place to help manage that as well. Now, the next question is, so just a quick one. Some of the classes go straight to the problem areas like lower back, shoulders. Do I persist and do the moves anyway, or should I take these carefully? Note, I don't know if there's any underlying issues or if I just need some muscle strengthening around those areas. Diagnosis isn't easy to come by with NHS despite years of trying. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's really, really frustrating when you don't know what it is and you don't know, what best to do. Generally speaking, so yeah, some of our exercises are called, for example, lower back strength or shoulder stretch. Just as an example, we do some of those. So we do target areas of the body. Now it's really case by case basis. Again, how do you feel? How do you feel when you do them? So I wouldn't be able to say, yes, do that, or definitely don't do this. You've really got to do it yourself. I think doing it yourself and then doing the exercise, if you feel any sharp pains, generally that is a rule of thumb to be like, absolutely stop what you're doing right now. No more. So if it's causing any sharp pains, that's a very good sign of your body saying, no, this is bad for me. Please don't do this. Generally speaking, kind of any dull, very, very dull ache tend to be kind of okay. If it feels like it's sort of strengthening, and then a couple of days it completely goes away. Generally, that seems to be okay. But any sharp pains, just a big no. And also, doing the stretches, say if you struggle with your shoulders and your neck and you do the stretches, just notice how you feel afterwards. Notice how you feel when you're doing it, and notice how you feel like the day after and the day after that. Does it help? And if it does help, then great. And if it doesn't actually, it feels worse, then maybe, was it a particular move? Did you feel a particular move that didn't feel right when you did that class? Or is that an area that actually just needs a little bit of a rest right now? So I wouldn't be able to advise I wouldn't be able to advise on that one. But I think it's just really, really important, especially if you haven't got a diagnosis as well, just to be so in tune with your body. Maybe even keeping a tracker and writing down what exercises you've done and how you felt both during and the next day and the next day after that as well. And then try and build up a bit of a bank of data on what your body responds really well to and actually what doesn't, if anything doesn't feel right. And then you'll know what is helping and what you need to actually avoid right now. We're big believers, just in general in the squad anyway, of working your all round well being, your all round wellness. So we will do exercise that will strengthen your whole body. We will do exercises that will release your body. We'll do exercise that work your heart and your lungs. So just using kind of upper and lower body as an example, you'll notice there'll be an upper body strength on the timetable, and then there'll be a lower body strength, and then there'll be a full body strength. So if you do those, you'll work your whole body. And then if we do like an upper body strength, the next day there might be an upper body or a neck and shoulder stretch. So the way that we structure the timetable, it is very much you work your whole body and you release your whole body. That's what we're all about. So if you do see targeted areas, it isn't necessarily to say, if you have a low back, make sure you do this, because it just depends on how you feel. If you have a low back injury, make sure you do this, for example. We wouldn't ever be able to say that. But if you know in yourself that you need to improve strength in your lower back, or you've got a weak core, then you know that that would be a great class to do. Or just in general, just following the timetable. Is there any way to strengthen ankles to avoid injury for WAPI hypermobile ankles? Okay, so for hypermobility, it's about strength, but it's also about proprioception, which is knowing where you are in space and time. So kind of perceiving where you are. Things that help with this are single leg balances. So you can stand on one leg and you kind of feel yourself almost go like a little bit side to side, standing on one leg, engaging your deep core muscles. You could do some little bends, so some little single leg squats. Toe crunches are really, really good. So if you sit down, put a towel on the floor, and then you scrunch the towel up like underneath your toes, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, scrunch the towel up underneath your toes. It's really good for improving strength in your toes and also in the arches of the feet. So we've got to think about the whole area. We've got to think about our foot arches. We've got to think about our toes. We've got to think about our ankles, our shins, and down the outside of the legs as well. This is what we need to do to try and really, really work that strength and prevent injuries like rolling over, etc. And also really think about our proprioception. So proprioception wise, anything balance exercise is going to be good. So I use the example of standing on one leg and doing squats on one leg as well and switching. Have a go at walking on your toes for a few paces and then walking on the heels for a few paces. And that will really help just to feel that we're putting weight into all of our toes as well. So it's really, really easy. And even when doing exercise, like I sometimes do it as well. Say I step back into a lunge. I notice that rather than pressing into my big toe, sometimes I'm pushing into, say, my second, third, fourth toe, because it's just easier to let my ankle roll out, which isn't great. So I'm now making more of an effort to press into my big toe too. Really, really get a feeling of using all of your toes, improve the mobility in all of the toes, improve the mobility in the ankles. So that's some toe and then some heel walks. We've had the toe scrunches. Another one would be, get a band. You can even use booty bands, put them just above the ankles and then pushing out to the side and also bringing it in. So you're working both the outside and then the inside. All of these things can really, really help. Any other exercises? I don't want to give you too many. I think we just need a few to start, but really make sure that balance is a priority. And if you're thinking, I don't know what to do balance wise, go onto Yogascape. There's a balance track always. Or you can go to the full Yogascape release, go to track number 4. That's always the balance track. Do some of those. Type balance into on demand. We've got balance workouts in there. We even did a balance focus month. So have a look at those exercises, put them into a playlist. That's going to help proprioception wise. It's going to really help us get a feel for making sure we're putting equal pressure into our heel, our toes, etc. And then doing the toe scrunches, maybe set a timer on your phone where you're going to sit down, you're going to do 2 minutes of toe scrunches, you're going to stand up, you're going to do some toe heel walks, and then you're going to do another minute balancing on one leg, another minute balancing on the other leg, something like that. And then getting a booty band, doing some of those, pushing the leg out to the side, bringing it into the center, just to really, really help improve strength in the shin, help improve strength down the outside of the leg. Yes, I hope these are all useful. And it does go without saying, make sure you're wearing supportive footwear as well, where you can. And when you're doing these exercises, do them in barefoot so you can properly feel the ground, feel the floor beneath you to improve strength. But when you're out and about or doing exercise, perhaps for now, it might be best just to wear some, really, really supportive footwear. And another one, calf raises. That's just a dead easy one to do. Yeah, practicing some calf raises. And then please make sure you release your calves as well. Anyway, I think that's everything for today. What brilliant questions. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do let me know. Please do give me the feedback. I love to know whether this is useful for you or not. If you're listening on the podcast, let me know as well. And keep your eye out for information on the wellness retreats, everybody. And don't forget that spread the word about our 6-week course. It is open. There'll be so many people who struggled in January to stick to their goals and actually get started. And now this is the perfect time. So let them know. Spread the word about what we do. Anyway, team, have a wonderful day and I will see you in class.